Is this whiskey as good as gold?
Let's find out in this week's review.
Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt and I'm the Whiskey Nerd.
I'm Rose and I'm the Whiskey Noob.
And this week we're looking at Gold Spot, which is a limited edition release celebrating the 135th anniversary of Mitchell & Sons Spot Whiskies.
They've been around for a while, haven't they?
They have. So let me get into the glass and I'll tell you a little bit more about it. Now,
I'm really excited for this.
We've had, as you can see, some of this whiskey already. It was released kind of right after Whiskey Live Dublin, which was a great event. And if you haven't seen our video at Whiskey Live Dublin, check it out up there. There will be a link. It was a great time. We went to experience loads of new whiskies, interview people. It was pretty fun, wasn't it?
It was loads of fun.
But this whiskey, Gold Spot, was one they actually kind of launched, a little soft launch, at Whiskey Live Dublin.
It's the first one we actually went to go and try while we were there.
Yeah, it was very nice. It's a kind of a special edition celebrating the 135th anniversary of kind of the Mitchell & Sons Spot whiskey. So they've got green spot, yellow spot, blue spot, red spot, and some kind of special editions of green spot, but this is Gold Spot, and it's a really, really good whiskey.
Yeah.
And one of the things that makes it interesting is that part of the whiskey was actually aged in port casks, which is, I think, the first time Mitchell & Son have ever done a whiskey aged in port casks. Yeah.
Which I find super interesting. So isn't this like not only the port, but like loads of different kinds of wine casks all together?
Yeah, so this is kind of leaning into their heritage. So Mitchell & Son were wine merchants and they would age whiskey in their wine casks. So this is bourbon casks originally, followed by Bordeaux casks, sherry casks, and the port cask. So it's a lot of kind of wine influence coming in.
Wow.
Yeah. So actually, an interesting story about Mitchell & Son. When they were starting up, they had like a tea room on Grafton Street that would serve sneaky little cocktails to women in teacups. They call them like the Grafton Wink because it was on Grafton Street. So little things, so the tea rooms became much more popular than some of their other stores because women could go and enjoy a drink without actually kind of feeling, you know, that they were going to a bar or anything like that. It was a nice, more high-class establishment.
Yeah, my kind of place, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So we have tried Gold Spot a few times now, just to like get the feel for it. And one thing that really strikes me, because I'm like the little wine buff in the house, is how well balanced the whiskey and the wine notes are. Like, it's like a perfect melding together. Because sometimes you get whiskeys where it's kind of like you taste the whiskey and you taste the wine influence and they're very separate kinds of tastes. It can be almost a little jarring sometimes.
Yeah.
But this is like the perfect medley of the wine influence with the whiskey, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because the age statement on this whiskey is a little bit misleading in a good way. So it says it was aged for 9 years, and that's actually the minimum age of the whiskey in it. Now, as we were talking to the guys at Whiskey Live Dublin, we found out some of the whiskey in it was actually distilled in, I think, 2005, which would make it about 17 years old.
Wow.
And they did mention that the port inclusion was in the port casks for 4, almost 5 years. So you could imagine that maybe it was 12 years in bourbon casks, then 5 years in the port cask. So it might be that the length of time it spent in those casks, in those wine casks, let it kind of get together. Instead of it being
gel together a bit better.
Yeah, instead of it being like a 6-month finish where you just kind of get, like you said, like the whiskey and the wine flavors.
Yeah.
It was together, and I think that's really worked well here.
Yeah, I think working together always works well.
Yeah, so do you want to go in for the nose?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the Gold Spot, the nose.
Oh, that smells real good. It's
Yeah.
like, I smell berries
Yeah.
and vanilla hops.
Yeah. It's very perfumey. It is almost like a very nice perfume. It also it does come in at, I think, just over 51%, 51.4% alcohol by volume. So there's
Like, I feel like I just walked into Brown Thomas.
Brown Thumbs is a fancy kind of department store where they sell
Bloomingdale's.
like Bloomingdale's. Yeah. So very nice. There's vanilla, berries, perfumey notes. It's very rich.
Very
It's like
perfumey.
you can taste all those, you can smell all those wine influences, like those kind of nice fortified, spicy wine notes.
I feel like I'm walking through a forest and there are loads of like berry bushes around me. I'm like, just my hand is just gently touching the berries. I'm like, I'll pick this one, I'll pick that one, and I'll pop them right into here.
Yeah.
It smells so nice.
Typically with spot whiskies, I always get like apple or like, you know, red apple, green apple.
Oh.
I'm getting like the flesh of a red apple, not necessarily like the skin, but like that kind of softer, more mellow kind of flavor, not like the skin where all like the sharp juices.
So because there's been a green spot, right? Would you get green apple?
Actually, yeah, green spot, it's one of those things that actually does taste a lot like green apple.
So therefore, for gold spot, would there be something like a golden pear?
Maybe. I'm not sure they would go for that. And I'm not sure they would name the whiskey after the type of apple, but yeah, it definitely is that kind of more yellowy red kind of apple as opposed to the green apple.
Yeah. There's like a lightness behind it as well.
Yeah, like despite coming in at 51.4, it is quite light. It is quite like approachable.
Yeah. Should we go in?
I think, yeah, we can go in for the palate. Yeah. Very drinkable, very nice. There's a bit of oak coming through, the spiciness. It is a pot still whiskey, so you get this spiciness and you get this kind of creaminess, this nice mouth coating feel to it. Very nice, very approachable.
Yeah, I get like the spiciness for sure, and what else? The woodiness as well. But what was the other thing we figured out? I don't like, was it new make oak?
Yeah, you don't like virgin oak because
yes.
it gets all that kind of flavor. That's why you generally don't like bourbons, because you get all that oak spice.
Yes, but this I like, and it's not, because it's not that.
Okay. It's more that length of time it's spent in the oak rather than like the fresh char. It's
exactly.
Like the flavor of the oak rather than the oak char.
See, I'm learning stuff.
Yeah.
I'm learning stuff about the kinds of oak and wood
that
I like my whiskeys to have been aged in.
Yeah.
Coming along in the world.
What else do you got?
Oh, I don't know. It's just a lot of woody, the spices that are in there. I almost feel like you can still definitely taste the wine influence. It kind of feels like I'm tasting a bit of hints of a red wine, and you almost get a little bit, not like the maybe like the acidity, because it makes your mouth water.
Yeah.
You know.
And almost like there's this like that creaminess, that richness. It's almost like the syrupy texture you get with a sherry. You know, that kind of nice texture. The body on the whiskey is actually really nice, really rich.
Yeah, like good French wine kind of thing. But it is Bordeaux cask part of it, so that makes sense.
Yeah. I know you did already mention it, but there's a huge base of vanilla on this as well. Like a lot of the whiskey did spend a lot of time in those bourbon casks, so you're going to get that vanillin, you're going to get the kind of nice, sweet butterscotch, honeycomb flavors coming through there.
What does vanillin mean?
Vanillin is the chemical that tastes like vanilla, and it is in oak. So when you char oak, you release these chemicals. It's kind of like a chemical reaction.
Yeah.
That's where you get the vanilla flavors.
You're pulling some science on me here.
Yeah, so depending on the amount of char you put into a barrel, you're going to get more of the vanillin coming out. But you're also going to get that char, which is why Irish whiskies, when they aged in bourbon barrels, the bourbon would have taken all the char but left a lot of the vanillin. So the Irish whiskies don't get the char, but they do get the vanilla flavors coming through. That's where.
Well, you sure know a lot, though, don't you?
I do.
I'd almost give you a gold star for all that knowledge. Maybe I'll give you a gold spot instead.
A gold spot, yeah. Har har har. Do you want to go in for the finish? What's the last?
Oh gosh.
Kind of lingering note.
So I think I like pot stills.
Okay, that's good.
Because I think I'm starting to get like a general flavor, like understanding the flavor of pot still. So I almost want to say it tastes like a pot still.
Yeah, that's kind of spicy.
But I still even fully understand what that means. I just feel like I've been drinking a lot of pot stills, so I'm like, there's common themes amongst them.
Yeah, so a pot still whiskey, it's a mix of malted, unmalted barley.
Okay.
So you're gonna get like the kind of fruitiness, the funkiness, those caramel notes from the malt.
Yeah.
But also it's gonna be lightened up by some of the more floral, grassy, kind of peppery notes you get from the unmalted barley. So you do get, it's not as strong as a single malt, but it's also not like a grain whiskey where it's all lightness. It's a really good, nice balance.
Okay, it is a well-balanced whiskey.
Yeah, and those wine, for me, it's the wine influence is what hangs on. You get the oakiness, you get the, as if you've just drunk a really nice, rich red wine.
Yeah. And
it has this kind of dry, I think you said like acidic kind of feel.
Acidic, but that makes it like your mouth a little bit moist. Tannin makes your mouth dry.
But the end is, but there's more of the tannins in, I guess.
Yeah.
My mouth is a little bit dry, but in a good way because like you've had a good wine.
Yeah. And different people experience tannin and acidity slightly differently as well.
Yeah. Oh look, you're bringing in the science.
Woo!
Yeah. This is, like I said, a limited edition. I think all of the Irish bottles are sold out.
Yes.
Now the guys at Whiskey Lab Dublin did say to us that there was one release for Ireland and then there was one release for the rest of the world, so I'd imagine the rest of the world release is coming soon.
Yeah.
And I think
get your hands on it.
Definitely get your hands on it while you can. We've already seen this up on secondary retail at more than twice the retail price.
Yeah.
So, and it's only going to go higher.
Yeah.
It's special edition, limited edition. If you like spot whiskies, if you like pot still whiskies, this is definitely a really, really nice one.
If you want whiskey that's very well balanced with wine flavors, like probably the best whiskey I've had that's balanced with wine.
Yeah.
Get it.
Yeah, it's really nice. It is also limited edition, so you're not gonna be able to get it again. So for that once-off kind of appeal, I think it does kind of justify maybe the little bit of it is €120.
Yeah.
It is a higher on the price tag, but I think considering the limited edition, considering the amount of work, the 17 years of some of the whiskies, it's probably worth it.
Maybe share it with your close friends and family.
Yeah,
only people you like.
Only people you like, yeah. Well, I think that's all there is to say about Goldspot. I know I'm going to enjoy the rest of this glass.
But we're going to drink it slowly because you can't get any more of it.
Yeah, so unless we were to go to America, we can't buy any more bottles of it, so we're definitely going to have to
slow it down.
Slowly enjoy this one.
But it's very good.
Yeah, so if you wanted this, make sure you go get it, and until next time, let's launch it.
Bye-bye.